Here we go, Atangana. This is our telecast of Sportskeeda Wrestling and Lucha Libre Online for all English viewers around the globe. And we welcome you to this first edition in English of Atangana, the show. And it's a courtesy of Sportskeeda Wrestling and Lucha Libre Online. We welcome the whole wrestling planet to this Facebook Live. My name is Hugo Savinovich. Next to me, in Spanish, we call her La Rubia Peligrosa. She is my Cajun girl from Louisiana, my wife of over 27 years, Diana Savinovich. In English is the dangerous blonde, Diana Savinovich, and Hugo Savinovich, the son of Doña Melida. And for you guys that don't know me that much, 20 years as a professional wrestler. By the age of 16, I had already wrestled in tag team with the most famous Spanish wrestler, the legend of Santo, the silver mask man, Santo Desmascarado de Plata. By 70, I had wrestled with the Red Bastille, Jose Lotario, and throughout my career, I held two times the World Light Heavyweight Championship in the Dominican Republic, the Puerto Rico Heavyweight Championship, the Western States Championship with Mitsu Ishikawa in the Amarillo, Texas territory of the Funk Brothers. I wrestled in Japan in front of 40,000 fans. I managed the top guys in wrestling: Abdullah the Butcher, mi monster, mi máquina, my monster, my machine, Bruiser Brody, the Briscoes, the Funks, Crazy Luke Grant, the Fabulous Kangaroos. When wrestling was #1 in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean islands, I was the producer. I was first the manager, then I was the producer, and the play-by-play guy and the host of the show. And we used to run the whole Caribbean. At one point, there was one of the top wrestling companies in the world. And then after spending 15 years there, I spent 17 years with the WWE with Vince McMahon, when the whole creative company was Vince McMahon. Stephanie and Shane were still in college. The creative team was Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, Bruce Preacher, whose brother loved, myself, and then Jerry Briscoe came on board. And then after a year, then I went full-time into the production and the expansion of the Spanish TV shows and the other international shows that I helped bring about with the producers and all the other international announcers. Spending there 17 years. And then for the last 6 years, I've been producing and doing pay-per-view English and Spanish for the AAA wrestling company, which is the second largest one in the whole world. A lot of people don't know that about AAA. And then I did the first season in Spanish of Lucha Underground. For the last 2 years, I've been producing and creating Wrestling Superstar in South America and Chile, helping also to bring about Imperial Lucha in Peru. And in Chile, we brought those matches when the Hardys were still not contracted by WWE. I had matches of the Hardys, Jeff and Matt Hardy, against the Young Bucks. I created the brand Mysterio Mania, big shows with Rey Mysterio, and basically just put the wrestling on the map again in South America. And I've been doing shows in other places like Orlando, Florida, and I will be November 4th with the Crash, Lucha Libre, and Rey Mysterio in Tijuana. I keep active. We keep doing a lot of things. So I just wanted to bring about Hugo Savinovich, and what are you going to be seeing in this editions in English are just going to be the opportunity of us hanging together through the courtesy of Lucha Libre Online and Sportskeeda Wrestling. And we keep it real, and whatever questions you bring about, we're here to answer. My wife is Diana Savinovich, the dangerous Cajun girl blonde. And we're going to talk about WWE. We're going to talk about what's happened with Jeff Jarrett, and obviously also about situations with Ring of Honor. And I have a good thing to talk to you about. It's about what about if the Bullet Club situation with WWE is just a storyline for something shocking in WrestleMania. Would that be something? So what do you think about that, and also about the last Raw, where it was a siege by Shane O'Mac and Smackdown brand on Kurt Angle's Raw, We're going to talk about that. So we're going to open the forum. First, we want to say hello to all our viewers. And this is my wife, Diana. Let's hit it, Diana.
Hi, what a privilege to be on Sportskeeda Wrestling. We're expanding a little bit. Now we're in English, and it's wonderful because you know what? Even though we speak Spanish, English, whatever, we're all fans. We're all wrestling fans. This is the most exciting sport I think there is on earth. Even though there's the major leagues are tonight, they're still playing. It's Houston Astros.
Are they playing tonight or tomorrow?
No, they're playing tonight.
Wow, I'm
they're
behind
playing
the
tonight.
schedule.
Yeah, I believe they're playing tonight.
Okay.
So anyway, I'll find out in a minute. But welcome to all your English-speaking wrestling fans. So I'm here. I'll be asking all the questions, and Hugo will be answering all the questions. So just feel free to write and welcome.
So we are here with the giant of wrestling in Facebook, Sportskeeda, and in Spanish, Lucha Libre Online. And let's talk about past Monday on Raw. What a great show it was. And the takeover, the siege of the Smackdown. Let's go with some questions, Diana.
Okay, Phil Beck says the Bullet Club is just not happening at WrestleMania. My good man Hugo, I just can't get it.
You just can't get it? Well, I just been seeing a lot of Bullet Club T-shirts, and I have seen some incredible things throughout the years that I worked with WWE, like the times that they were mentioned. It's not happening. Eric Bishop coming back. It's not happening. Hulk Hogan coming back. I've been talking about the time that I said that Rey Mysterio was leaving the WWE, and I said, no, he was not leaving. I mentioned about Alberto Del Rio when he was having the discrepancies with the company. And I've been talking about CM Punk, rumors again of him being the man to come back to WWE. And as you know, even though Brock Lesnar is under contract, somehow Vince McMahon and Dana White were able to work some kind of arrangement where Brock Lesnar was able to go back into the UFC world and wrestle. So impossibles have never stopped Vince McMahon, and I believe that there is something happening there. I have seen just a good storyline, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, you're talking about shock moments, Bullet Club. It could happen. You know, we never know. Let's go with some more.
Keep on smoking.
All right. So basically, we are very happy with what happened last Monday. I thought that, and we based that. We had on our edition of the Spanish Atangana the show on last Monday. We do the reports of Raw and SmackDown immediately right after each show, and obviously we're probably going to end up doing the first 5 minutes for Sportskeeda in Spanish every Monday night and every Tuesday night to do a report in English for you guys. But the majority of the comments, and we had close to 2,500 comments, the fans around the world were very happy with Raw and the storyline of Shane coming over and taking over for a night and just doing some bad stuff to the Raw crew. But people were not happy with Tuesday Smackdown. It looked like they threw in the towel. You know, like in a boxing match when you can't just stand to see your boxer getting punched, getting hit. It was just like SmackDown creative team just threw the towel because there was not even a resemblance of doing something, you know, like a false finish, making believe that it was going to happen. And many things could have happened, like at the end of the show. Even at the end of the show, they would have had in a car Kurt Angle with binoculars. The last shot you see before going off the air, that he was right at the arena looking at the place, at least scouting the place, something. I mean, the night before you got pummeled, you got embarrassed, and nothing, not even one quick question, not even one phone call, just a little segment of Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon perhaps working their own storyline of discontent, Daniel Bryan with Shane McMahon. But, you know, after you do that thing on Monday night, to end up just doing something, going home with the Randy Orton and Sami Zayn match, which wasn't bad. That was pretty good, but it was not what the people were talking about. Okay, let's.
I stand corrected. They play tomorrow in Houston, right. So it's tomorrow. Eric is asking, Finn is being wasted, going the Bray route.
The Bray?
He's asking that is Finn Balor being wasted going the Bray route?
I just believe that with Finn Balor, the era has been the same that the creative made with Roman Reigns. With Roman Reigns, they just were pushing him just not at the right time to make him the top star. And with Finn Balor, they went too early with the demon character. They took it off, they bring it back, they take it off, they bring it back. And I believe that you have to just make up your mind. Either he's the demon or not. And because many people are upset, his fans, that he lost against Kane, but you know, there could only be one room for a monster, or at least, you know, if Finn Balor is not the demon. So to me, that made sense. But I believe that they're wasting time by not establishing Finn Balor as the demon. I think that's your draw right there.
Pastor Gerson Tirano is here. He says Bullet Club would be awesome.
Thank you, Pastor. Then for the people that are joining in, we're doing the 30-minute version of Atangana, this show. This alliance that have been created with the giant of Facebook and wrestling, Sportskeeda Wrestling and Lucha Libre Online. So every Thursday night from 8:30 to 9, we're going to hit you with English. And you are very important. This is about you leaving us your comments. And believe me that the offices that are in charge of creative from different companies will be taking a look at it. And that's about the way that you have this big brains, you know, in these companies look at what the fans are thinking.
Eddie Gonzalez asks, is CM Punk coming back?
I would love to see him come back. And people are saying, well, he's training to come back to UFC. Well, you know, the main star, you know, one of the main stars, Brock Lesnar, is in contract with WWE, and he went back for one match. Do not tell me that it cannot be done, especially as the fact that, without offending CM Punk, he is not a main eventer with UFC. So right now, I believe that this is just a matter of Dana White and Vince McMahon talking about it, and it could be done. And let's face it, I think wrestling needs CM Punk. By the way, congratulations to the birthday boy. CM Punk's birthday today. He turns 39 today. Wow. So CM Punk, the birthday boy today. More.
Felipe Gutierrez Hernandez says, good luck with this new partnership, my dear coach. Greetings from Santiago.
Thank you very much to our fans around the world. This is what I love, that we could talk about this subject, and the companies will be able to see what their customers, the passionate wrestling fans, think about that. Let's talk a little bit about, you're asking more questions about Jeff Jarrett, as their union partnership came to an abrupt end. Global Force Wrestling and TNA, or Impact Wrestling. I saw that coming way back on our Spanish telecast. I was saying way back when TNA started, and they said, well, this is a cool name. And back then, I was saying, and people thought that I was crazy, why don't you like the TNA number? I said, because right now TNA might sound cool, but if you're going to put in millions of dollars, that little slick move of the name TNA, it might not work, because you got to think like Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, all these big brands. You know, you build a brand, and if your name is not solid enough, you're in trouble. And, you know, it took so many millions of dollars, and then finally they went from TNA to Impact Wrestling to then Global Force Wrestling, and they were blaming it all in Dixie Carter. And trust me, what a great lady. I mean, she had it hard. Obviously, she didn't have the right people, a lot of egos, and they just wasted a lot of millions of dollars, and they ended up not helping the new generation of wrestlers. I thought they had super talent, and they just wasted the new talent. It was like a clique. They did not let the younger guys come up. But talking about Jeff Jarrett, it was a situation that really deteriorated. And on the Triple Mania show, we had talked about that on our Spanish Atangana show, about the fact that when the incident with Sexy Star and one of the American girls happened, people concentrating on that, while the real story was that the big boss of Global Force Wrestling was drunk that night, you know, and wow. With the scandals that we have had in Hollywood, you know, maybe it's time for wrestling to take a second look about, you know, people that are in positions where they should be the law, they should be the leadership, and he was not up to that. And then just recently in Canada, and it's, you know, I don't know if you read about it, he was drunk. And trust me, I love Jeff. I've known him. He's been a friend of mine for many years. I bless him. I declare blessings on him. But that prompted Impact Wrestling to cancel whatever plans they had with Global Force Wrestling and ended the contract with Jeff Jarrett, and then he was upset and this and that, and finally we found out that it was through his wife, God bless her, Karen, that WWE, who knew that WWE is the people behind spending the money to put him on a rehab place. I always said you could talk this and that about Vince McMahon, but these are good people. I don't work for them anymore. But if this is 100% confirmed that it was that program they have to help former stars of the company to get help, and believe me, Jeff needs help, and we want to see him get well. He is too good to be erased of our history of wrestling. I think he could make a comeback, plus his wife needs him. I think that he would also show our guys or girls that might be having the same problems that you could get help. I'm a living example that you could get help. Vince was able to give me a second chance. I fell into drugs, alcohol, and then I did another 15 years with Vince, and I've been clean for over 19 years. So yes, there's a second chance, but that brought the collapse of this union of Global Force Wrestling and TNA, and we have Jeff Jarrett and his family on our prayers. Let's go to some comments.
Carlos Ortiz asks, do you think Jeff Hardy will get a single push?
Right now, there is so much talent being wasted. People just sitting in chairs in big arenas at the catering rooms. Just the humiliation of what they did with the Hardys. It's scary to know that there is a loving fan base worldwide that was ready to back this duo of Matt and Jeff Hardy, and how this has been wasted. Yes, there is room, there is an opportunity. Yes, I believe so. But come on, it's getting ridiculous.
Victor Perez says, I think WWE doesn't need CM Punk. They got too much talent. That's my opinion.
Well, if they had too much talent, then they will be breaking all kinds of records in attendance. They will be doing really great on all their aspects, but a lot of the arenas are not filling up. And like I said, I have weekly shows in Spanish, and I'll have the bigger advantage because through Sportskeeda, I'm going to have the opportunity every week of not only having the concept of the Spanish world, but through Sportskeeda Wrestling, I'm going to have the opportunity of checking out how the rest of the world thinks, and I'm going to have more commentary of you fans to give me more in-depth, information. And as it is right now, the majority of the comments are that Vince and the creative team are not paying attention to the strength of their audience. They're catering everything towards the little kids, and the fan base that really buys the T-shirts, all the other products, all their things are grown-up people, and the teenagers going up, and they're feeling like they have been insulted with a lot of horrible storylines, and if you cannot please your customers, you are in trouble.
Ramiro De Leon says, why is it so hard to get into WWE?
Well, it's so many people. That's like one of the fans just previously said there's so much talent signed that are not being used, and then plus with the creative problems they have, that they start something and then they just, at the middle of the road, they just like put the car, put the brakes on the car, and then you don't see what's happening with the cruiserweight, with the 205 Live, with the brand in UK. They start many things, yet they don't follow through. And this is a scary thing because I worked for a family, the McMahon family, for over 70 years, and they have the go and the passion, but as this big monster called WWE, the sports entertainment global, big enterprise, I think the problem is it got so big, and Vince said to me once, Hugo, people think that because I am the owner, it's like I just do like this and everything can happen. And trust me, it is not that easy because he has so many people that are.
He has to delegate in other people.
And a lot of people don't know you fans. They are successful people from other companies, other brands, but they have not spent time to learn the passion of the customers of wrestling, or if you want to call it sports entertainment. They don't know that. So they want to do whatever they did on their big successful companies or Hollywood. They want to bring that to wrestling, and they are insulting our fans that are used to seeing the best ideas, the best storylines, and yet they're feeling cheated. Okay.
Alan de la Cruz says, WWE has too much talent, but talent that gets grounded every week because they have a lack of creativity at the moment. Blessing from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Michigan, good, beautiful place around there. Yes, yes.
Eddie Gonzalez says, about Punk, is it of him? Is it about him, or is it too much pride for him to come back?
No, it ain't about.
Is it up to him, or is it too much pride?
It's up to Vince and CM Punk. Right now, as we speak, we do not know. I mean, when the what's going on?
If he's already signed.
You know, Vince is so smart. That's why when I said to you, what about if the Bullet Club thing with Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and the T-shirts at the arena of the Bullet Club? Vince is, listen, when he made up with Hulk Hogan, that was almost an impossible. When Eric Bischoff was hired in WWE to become the general manager, I seen people that no one expected to have to be back in WWF or WWE. And if there's one thing that I know is that Vince McMahon, he is the genius. In Spanish is el genio, the genius of wrestling, of sports entertainment. This guy, he's up by 4:30 in the morning. He is a brilliant mind. I'm not saying he's perfect. Then again, no one is on planet Earth. But if you look at his accomplishments,
you mean I'm not perfect?
No, baby. You've been with me for 27 years. You're my wife, and I love you.
Almost.
But you're not. Almost. Yeah.
Almost.
Por poquito. Yes. But it's great. So I want you to read, Deanna, right away what we got about the WWE networks.
Says WWE announced WWE Network's average paid subscribers increased to 1.52 million over the quarter. This breaks down to 1.11 million domestic paid subscribers and 0.40 million international paid subscribers at the end of the quarter, a 4% increase from September of 2016. A breakdown of 410,000 international subscribers and 1,158 million domestic subscribers. Once again, WWE did not specify the breakdown of free versus paid subscribers. After WrestleMania 33's conference call that the network had 1.959 million total subscribers, of those that are paid was 1.661. So they had a total of 1.959 million subscribers, but those that were paying were 1.661. I was telling Hugo, this means then, Hugo, that the more subscribers they are to the WWE network, the less people are paying for the pay-per-views, because this includes the pay-per-view.
Yes, and if they don't make another, other revenue doesn't come in, then you have a big situation with the royalties to the superstars. And that's one of the reasons why wrestlers like Carlito, Caribbean Cool, and Rey Mysterio, and even the Young Bucks twice refused to sign with WWE. It's because a lot of this talented guys and girls, they're making good money. As a producer of a lot of worldwide events, it's even hard for me to get a Cody Rhodes, to get a Rey Mysterio, to get a Carlito, and when the Hardys were available and were the Young Bucks, because they're just booked solidly. And when you have your own merchandise and you're basically in control of your destiny, why will you sign with WWE if you're making more money? And then sometimes they say, I don't have to deal with the nasty politics that sometimes surrounds, giants like WWE. A little comment about New Japan Pro Wrestling, as we have seen an improvement on what they're doing, but there's still the lack of wanting to invest real money is becoming their worst enemy. You could have strong style wrestling and this and that, but if you're not willing to commit with more money to invest on your storylines, and I could tell you because I was approached to do the Spanish production and the Spanish play-by-play and do the whole thing in Spanish, and they were not willing to commit to a decent amount of money to make sure that you get the best talent and the best production. And I believe that this is the moment for New Japan Pro Wrestling to take it to another level, to create, more stars, which is the biggest problem in the industry, is that worldwide, besides John Cena, we have not created another, a global phenomenon in wrestling. And yes, there's a lot of good wrestlers, but even in Mexico, after Mystico, who was the original Sin Cara, even in Mexico wrestling, there has not been another, new Sin Cara, new John Cena. There's nobody that could be like The Rock or Stone Cold and The Undertaker. We know that, but you need the new faces. Okay, they're trying to do that with Roman Reigns, but New Japan Pro Wrestling has to learn from the mistakes in the past that almost erased pro wrestling out of Japan. And I worked in Japan, and I had dealings with all the companies, and a wrestler, a superstar like Mr. Muda, when he was young, I used to manage him in Puerto Rico as the Super Black Ninja. I know what is going on, and I believe that right now, New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's at a good point to get the right decisions to their creative team, get it together. And it's almost the same situation with Ring of Honor. Good matches, but they are not investing enough in taking their product to another level. And besides, they have to get a little bit more aggressive with their storylines. Okay, I don't know if we have some more
comments. Our next striker says, we want the Puerto Ricans back in WWE. Carlos Ortiz said, would you like to see a woman brand like 205 Live?
Listen, if it's from another company, yes. If you're talking about WWE, no! They already have enough problems with dealing with having a decent SmackDown. They threw the towel last Tuesday night. WWE threw the towel. There's no way, there's no excuse for a company whose director, you pay him like over $4 million, and you have some of the best minds in the business, and you pay good money to the creative team, that you could have such a lousy program that hurts like the main event, Sami Zayn and Randy Orton, because when you have the fashion police with some crazy Hollywood vignettes and yet nothing solid, when you go right down to your main event, if you don't have the support, it lacks the emotion of building up. And all I said is they did not do the right thing. I'm not saying that they have to do the Raw attack on SmackDown, but even showing, that's Sushi. I don't know, Mom, if you can bring Sushi here.
Y'all want to see Sushi?
Yeah.
Y'all want to see
For our
Sushi?
English-speaking fans, that when I used to do the calling, I say, Fuego, Fuego, Sushi, llama a los bomberos. Sushi, it's our blue and gold macaw.
This is the girl that was screaming. Look at her.
She's our baby. She's 21 years old.
She's the screamer.
And that's why in Spanish, when the action gets hot in wrestling, I say, Fuego, Fuego, Sushi, llama a los bomberos. That means, the action is getting really hot, cold environment. That's Sushi. And it's just more complicated. And we hope that in our future sessions that we have on the edition of Tangra the Show, the English version, that we could talk more about that. Also, we would like to talk about some of the rumors about it was filtered, a document about the salaries, especially of the divas of the WWE. And I agree with Sportskeeda assessment that I don't believe we could really trust. And I say I agree with Sportskeeda, not because we're doing this alliance, but it makes sense. I worked there for so many years, and I believe that this document, knowing Vince and the way he protects the salaries, even with my brother that I love the most, and Carlos, the Boys Cabrera, the Spanish announcer of WWE, as we love each other and we are friends and brothers. And I don't even know how much he made. He never knew how much I made. It is just part of being a professional. You don't want people to know, because let's face it, it will create symptoms of not feeling happy if you know somebody else is making more. It's something. It's something about the human nature.
It'll bring strife. It will bring envy. It will be a whole bunch of stuff.
And especially if you're more talented than the other person, then the beef is bigger, and then it's a tangana. People get upset.
Here Alan says, I also think WWE has focused too much on the PG because of the kids, but the kids are not the ones spending the money on the products.
That's right, my brother.
WWE has to offer.
Who said that?
This was Alan de la Cruz.
Alan de la Cruz, I think you're 100% on the money, right there.
Susan Pendleton says, blessings from Kalamazoo.
All right.
And you know what, Hugo? We've had such a good time.
Yes.
The half time has just flown.
Okay, the half an hour is gone.
It's gone.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! And we got to say bye.
Yes, we are going in about 2 minutes into our Spanish edition, and we are so happy to be part of this professional, gigantic team of the people, the team of Sportskeeda Wrestling. And look us up every Thursday. Hopefully, Monday and Tuesday we could do the Raw report and the Smackdown report, the first 5 minutes in English, especially for Sportskeeda. And check us out. And please keep supporting Sportskeeda and Lucha Libre Online. Diana, the Cajun girl, the dangerous blonde, Shushi and Hugo Savinovich are signing off. Tangana.